Hi, my name is Meet and this is my multimedia presentation. In the science fiction novel This Is How You Lose a Time War, the authors Amel El-Motar and Max Gladstone effectively portray the significance acceptance and compromise have in maintaining peace in a conflicted world. Let's get right in. This Is How You Lose a Time War is an epistolary novel of two time-traveling agents, Red and Blue. Coming from two ideologically different societies, these agents travel back in time to change the past in an attempt to benefit their own people in the future. Although rivals, Red and Blue's mutual respect slowly turns into a romantic relationship depicted through a series of secret letters between them. Through character development, person versus society conflicts, and symbolism, the authors are effectively able to portray how a clash between two groups with different ideologies can be avoided through acceptance and compromise. First and foremost, the author's use of character development allows the reader to infer and view the protagonist's true feelings towards their societies and the potential for these two opponents to make peace. The authors effectively highlight the theme of acceptance and its importance in avoiding conflict through the developing relationship between Red and Blue. To give more background on these characters, Red works for the agency, an all-powerful society with advanced technology. On the other hand, Blue works for the Garden, an opposite society where technology is biological rather than digitalized or mechanical, where nature is prioritized. Despite the significant differences in beliefs, both characters are able to relate to the fact that the ideologies and expectations imposed on them by society don't allow them to be their true selves. In the quote, "The thought of your disembodied network repulses me, but I look at you, Red, and see much of myself, a desire to be apart. Sometimes to understand who I am without the rest." The reader can infer from this quote that both of the characters have a common desire to be apart from society, suggesting their disinterest in the wars that these two societies have caused. Initially, Blue's beliefs cause her to refuse to agree with the structural aspects of Red's society. It is hard for her to be able to relate to Red's culture due to her different ideologies of how society should be structured. However, as she gets more exposed to Red's beliefs, she begins to accept them and see the positive aspects of them, hence highlighting the theme of how conflict can be avoided through acceptance, and portraying how being a little open-minded can avoid clashes due to different beliefs. Furthermore, the developing relationship between the two agents allows the reader to infer that with the right understanding, these two societies have the potential to coexist without conflict. In her letter to Red, Blue writes, "Every morning I see a red sky bleed over blue water and think of us. Have you ever watched this kind of sunset? The colors don't blend, the redder the sky, the bluer the water." Through the imagery of a sunset, this quote effectively demonstrates how both societies have the potential to coexist. The colors red and blue symbolize the characters themselves, which in turn represent the societies they come from. This quote clearly mentions how it's not necessary for the two societies to blend in with each other and completely agree on each other's beliefs. However, it does convey the message that both can be equally prosperous at the same time. At this point in the novel, the reader can see how Blue's and Red's relationship can work out despite their differences, ultimately allowing the reader to infer that even the two societies they come from can live in peace and harmony as well. Throughout the novel, character development serves as a key method to allow the reader to make inferences and connections to the bigger conflicts in the story. The authors effectively develop the characters to place emphasis on the theme of acceptance and its importance in achieving peace. Secondly, the person versus society conflicts in the novel highlight the importance of compromise and depict how failing to do so can lead to endless chaos and destruction. Although Blue and Red fight each other, they are not the real enemy, but rather it is the societies that they come from that are snatching away their freedoms and destroying the world through their wars. For instance, when Red says, "Nobody here knows their worth yet, but if they do not perish on this island, someone might realize their use a few centuries earlier and change everything." This shows how the Garden, which is Blue's society, will go to the extent of destroying an entire island just for their own selfish reasons. Both Blue and Red must go against the world to be the cause of destruction and chaos all over the world just for their society's desire for power. Through this conflict, the authors portray the negative effects that a lack of compromise between two groups with different beliefs can have. In addition, both Red and Blue strongly believe that this war is pointless and that nothing but death and destruction can result from it. In the quote, "Your unstoppable force to our immovable object, less a game of Go than a game of tic-tac-toe. outcomes determined from the first move, endlessly iterated until the split where we fork off into unstable, chaotic possibility, the future we seek to secure at each other's expense. A metaphor is used in this quote to compare the war to an endless game of tic-tac-toe, portraying how meaningless this war is. Millions of people are dying due to the lack of understanding and compromise between these highly advanced societies. Although the author doesn't seem to depict a clear solution to this destruction, by portraying the characters' feelings towards these wars, it allows the reader to deduce that the only way to bring an end to this war is compromise from both ends. The person versus society conflict helps to outline the vast destruction that a lack of understanding and compromise can cause. Last but not least, the effective use of symbolism in this novel truly creates an insightful message that allows the reader to reflect and think about how conflicts can be easily avoided through communication and acceptance. The letters exchanged between Blue and Red symbolize the importance communication has to avoid conflict between people of ideologically separate backgrounds. In an interview with the authors of the novel, Amel El-Mutar describes how the letters were a way for the reader to view how much in common these two enemies really had. And in the Time War, there's a lot built out of the fact that Red and Blue have more in common with each other than the places that have created them, the places where they come from. I feel like that experience was very much in the marrow of it. It was only through these letters that the main characters were able to go from sworn enemies to lovers. Through this symbol, the author wants to highlight the significance that communication has in resolving conflicts by allowing both parties to fully understand each other's beliefs. However, the authors also want to emphasize the importance of being accepting and open-minded when listening to others' beliefs. Interestingly, the authors themselves are used as symbols to represent the societies they come from, and through the relationship, the values of acceptance and compromise can be seen. At the beginning of the novel, Red and Blue were sworn enemies, but through all the understanding and acceptance of each other's beliefs and ideologies, they were able to develop feelings of care and love for each other. In the quote, "It steps out onto the cold, sharp ground, it sniffs the air, inclines its head in Red's direction. Blue tears out its throat." In this instance, Blue is seen to protect Red from a lion that was about to attack her. Through these characters, the author portrays how no matter how vastly different two ideological groups may be, with acceptance of each other's beliefs, compromise can allow both groups to live in peace. Throughout the novel, symbolism is used to generate a deeper message that simply by communicating amongst one another and being accepting, destruction and conflict can be avoided. Throughout the novel, character development, person versus society conflicts, and symbolism are used as an effective method to illustrate how the rivalry between two groups can be evaded through compromise and acceptance. As seen throughout the novel, this is how you lose the Time War. Thoughts and opinions can differ from person to person and group to group, but a little sacrifice and accepting nature can lead to the betterment of everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.